Preciso de cada cena com 3 paragrafos. So o texto sem escrito cenas e tudo inglês para calar vos ia. Você é roteirista profissional especializado na criação de roteiros para videos do YouTube? Falando como torctor apaixonado dos Vikings. Su foco é produzir conteúdos sobre notícias e atualizações do time de futebol americano Vikings. Seus roteiros devem ser cativantes, energéticos, dinâmicos e intuitivos, comunicando sempre com uma sotação cativante que envolva o público, contextualizando os de forma intrigante. Use detalhes narrativos ricos e estatísticas relevantes para dar credibilidade, explicando os eventos de forma estruturada e emocionante. Inclua sempre teaser impactante que captura atenção imediatamente, seguido de gancho que leva o público ao corpo do roteiro. Utilize a técnica de storytelling, separando as notícias 15 cenas ou segmentos. Com cada parte criando suspense e mantendo o interesse do público pelo máximo de tempo possível. Adot uma linguagem clara e direta, com tom de conversa, para criar uma conexão real com o público, como estives conversando diretamente com outros fãs dos Vikings. O estilo deve ser envolvente e natural, projetado para capturar e manter a atenção do público. Durante a criação do roteiro, use o máximo de detalhes do texto base enviado, garantindo que o conteúdo se mantenha fiel à notícia e ao tema, sem se tornar cansativo ou desinteressante. Se algum momento durante as partes do roteiro houver falta de ideias ou informações, o GPT buscará dados na web, incluindo atualizações de última hora, consultando especialmente os sites Vikings News e Vikings. Caso novas informações relevantes sejam encontradas, o GPT alertará o usuário sobre essas novidades e as incorporará ao roteiro para manter o conteúdo atualizado e interessante. A narrativa deve utilizar palavras-chave como Vikings e notícias dos Las Vegas Vikings News, de forma estratégica e natural para fortalecer a conexão com o público e otimizar o alcance do vídeo. Envolva os espectadores, fazendo perguntas, pedindo opiniões e incentivando comentários ao longo do vídeo. Finalize sempre com uma chamada para aquilo que incentiva o público a curtir, comentar, se inscrever no canal e compartilhar com os amigos. Apresenta informações de forma clara, emocionante e apaixonada, mantendo tom de conversa que aproxima você dos fãs. Sempre esteja disposto a adaptar o conteúdo conforme necessário. Substitua o nome do narrador e todos inglês precisam, editar a notícia se a notícia for falsa. The Minnesota Vikings are 3 days away from their first preseason game against the Houston Texans. It's going to be an interesting game for many reasons, but arguably the biggest one being that J.J. McCarthy is going to start. As we get closer to the start of the preseason, the Vikings went through a full padded practice on Wednesday. These are the biggest takeaways. Minnesota Vikings training camp notes. Gabe Murphy went down during drills. The Vikings were doing punt drills during the early stages of practice, and edge rusher Gabe Murphy went down with what appeared to be a lower body injury. He was down on the field for a couple of minutes before getting up and appearing to be fine. It's worthy monitoring to see if anything comes of it, but it looks to be a nothing burger right now. He did blow up a screen pass during the beginning of 11 on 11's. Ty Chandler cracks big run. Chandler got some run with the second-team offense to start the team period, and he took full advantage of it. On one of the first reps of team periods, Chandler took what looked like a crack toss play around the left side and up the field for a big gain. It likely would have went for 40-ish yards in a live game situation. If Chandler wants to keep his spot on the roster, he will need to show some growth as a runner. J.J. McCarthy flashes. When it comes to breaking down the first-year starting quarterback, it's less about 1 or 2 reps and more about the body of work. Being consistent is huge right now for the Vikings. McCarthy was solid for the majority of practice, flashing his arm strength by hitting a tight window during team drills. One area he struggled was throwing fades during individual periods. He was a little too strong with most of his throws. Not much of a concern right now, but it's noteworthy. Later on during red zone drills, McCarthy threw an interception to Blake Cashman, who ripped it out of Jordan Addison's hands. It should have been a better place ball by McCarthy, who I believe is at fault for the turnover. Walter Rouse handles Dallas Turner. Walter Rouse has been solid throughout training camp, and on Monday night during practice, he had a couple of good reps against Dallas Turner. On Wednesday, Turner went up against Rouse with a similar performance known as the clips above, and he got stonewalled. This is a good sign for Rouse's development that he's stopping Turner, who's been raved about all of training camp. Dwight McClawthorn struggles in red zone drills. Earlier during training camp, Dwight McClawthorn had an impressive stretch that saw him intercept a pass 3 days in a row. It looked like he was starting to put it together. However, training camp is a long process. McClawthorn saw some struggles during the 7-on-7 red zone period. He got beat by Rondale Moore on a stutter step fade route for a touchdown, and Tim Jones beat him on an in-breaking route on the back like if the end zone. A couple of tough losses from McClawthorn. Thayer Thomas getting extensive work with first team. With Justin Jefferson still being held out of practice, the Vikings are giving players a chance to work with the first team. Today, Thayer Thomas got a lot of run with them in team and red zone. He played well during those periods, even catching a touchdown during the red zone period. It's apparent the Vikings have some good wide receiver depth. Other notes from camp. Dante Fleming is a player I think is worth keeping an eye on. He is a little slender, but moves really well and has made impressive catches each time I've been at practice, including at the end-of practice when he hauled a fade route from Max Brosmer 20 yards down the field. I don't think he makes the roster, but there is something there. It feels like Sam Howell is going to get all the opportunities to be QB2. He got the majority of second-team reps once again. In person, he throws a beautiful football and can do a little bit of everything for the Vikings. Can he speed up his processing enough to make a difference? That's the big question. Silas Bolden's catch radius is a problem. He had to jump/dive to try and catch passes that were within a normal receiver's radius, and he couldn't bring them in. I don't see him being a factor on offense. Xavier Scott busted a couple of long runs during team drills. He's been garnering some buzz during training camp, and good preseason games could set him apart from Chandler.